This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned.
I'll tell you
Arkansas
what,
operated.
I'm excited to talk
Go
with our buddy Tom Murphy
Pascal.com.
this morning. Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, whole hog sports. Tom, are you going to tell Bob to kick rocks on Saturday, that you're going to go to the game instead of him? Should be a good one Saturday night.
We could both go to the game, Ty, and no. Good morning, everybody. It's always a pleasure. No, I would never tell Bob to kick rocks. Basketball's his baby, and I support him. And I'll be there to do a notebook from the game, and excited to see these Razorbacks are playing better basketball. You know, during the parts of the season, the early parts of conference, you know, I would come on and I would say, you know, there's enough data and all to understand and think that Eric Musselman and his staff will know what to do and turn things around. But it didn't look very good when Brazil was out and Smith was out, and now you're facing the toughest part of your schedule. But by gosh, if they didn't play their best game of the year, and one of the best games in Eric Musselman's tenure here, to beat Kentucky the other night, it was truly a sight to behold.
That game from start to finish was about execution for Arkansas on offense, and then in the second half, you saw their defense take shape. When you think about the Razorbacks, the smallest guy that's consistently playing is Devo Davis at 6'4". Ricky's 6'6", Anthony's 6'7", Makai is 6'10", and then Mikel's either 6'10", 6'11". Then you got Jalen Graham that ranges about 6'9", George 6'7". I mean, Tom, how difficult is that for teams to consistently score on Arkansas's length throughout 40 minutes of play?
Yeah, it makes it tough, and I liked your assessment of that. Arkansas's offensive efficiency, I'm not looking at the number, you know, points per possession or whatever, but it had to be, you know, 1 point something nice. And you kept thinking, or I did, well, Kentucky's going to make a run. You know they're going to make a run. But Arkansas prevented them from making that run because how well they played. I mean, I watched John Calipari's postgame, and it was basically when a team shoots 72%, you're not going to beat them. So their offensive efficiency was off the chart. I mean, they just kept the pressure on. They got in the lane. They ran pick and rolls that allowed, you know, Mikel Mitchell and other guys to get to the rim. Anthony Black got to the rim some. And Calipari kept talking about how Arkansas bodied up. They bodied up Sheway. Kentucky had a good offensive plan. Toppin and several of the other guys got to the rim, but they had shots blocked. They just had tough defense played on them, and that was a tremendous, you know, the mindset and the actual physicality of carrying it through for 40 minutes. They just can't get fat on that because Mississippi State's a good team.
You talk about the efficiency. Your colleague and friend, Scotty Bordelon of Whole Hog Sports, he always kind of breaks down certain things, and he's really good about picking out different sequences and different parts of each other's game. And for Jordan Walsh coming off the bench, Tom, I thought what he's done from an efficiency standpoint in conference play has been far superior to when he was a starter. Am I accurate in that assessment?
Well, I have not seen the data, but it does seem like maybe he's more relaxed. He's not putting as much pressure on himself. I equated it a little bit to the Peyton Stovall deal. Here comes a highly touted freshman who's going to do all this stuff, and probably had a lot of pressure on himself like Stovall did in baseball. And then he found a way to relax and found his niche and contributes. And Jordan Walsh is the same way. I mean, he's got a bunch of offensive rebounds 2 games ago. He had some efficient drives to the hole in this game and played pretty good defense. He had a 3-pointer. So, yeah, I just think that they've shortened their bench some. And, it's, you know, with the Nick Smith component, hopefully you can start reducing some guys' minutes here and there because you're going to need that down the stretch. But they just seem to have maybe turned this corner. And I argue that the Baylor loss and the Missouri loss are 2 games they could have and maybe should have won, and imagine the streak they'd be on now if they'd won those 2 games.
That's a great point. Think about 2 years ago. You go into Tuscaloosa and get clobbered, and I think LSU in the same week. And after that, this team just got rolling. Jalen Williams, Mo, and company just went on a run. So maybe those tight losses were good. I think to your point, Tom, the question I have is, if this team continues to have success down the stretch, and they win 5 of their last 7 or 6 of their last 7 or whatever. How much do you think the selection committee takes into account the Trevin Brazile injury and Nick Smith not being fully healthy for most of the year?
Well, I mean, they have to, or they're obliged to, based on, the criteria they're supposed to use, whether or not Arkansas gets hot down the stretch or goes 500 down the stretch. Right now, that Kentucky win was big. I mean, they moved up a couple of 3 lines on most projections. Joe Lunardi gets a lot of publicity for his, and he's done a good job of that over the years. And I think they moved up 2 or maybe 3 lines to an 8 for him. Now, maintaining that's going to be difficult. But I think they're playing with a lot more confidence. I think Mikael Mitchell being kind of unleashed, so to speak, defensively, and then some of the stuff he did offensively, that shot clock beating jumper, I mean, we haven't seen that in his game a lot, and he got fed by Devo with 1 second left and made a jumper. That was a huge shot in that game. I think he also had a pick and roll where it was lobbed to him, and he didn't really control it. He pushed it off the backboard, and it just went in, and it was that kind of a game for him. And it's come a little bit at the expense of Mekhi Mitchell's production, but I do think now you've got 2 guys who are stout in the post. I mean, they really controlled Sheboygan. That was a job well done by those 2 guys. You can just tell it means a lot to them, and I don't know. It's good to see that a team that had lost some games that were tough losses, the Alabama game at home and so on, is now finding its legs, and they're doing things that Eric Musselman teams do in the second half of conference.
Tommy had 30-18 last year in Bud Walton. Sheboygan had 7-7 in Rupp. Mekhi and Mikael Mitchell were awesome defensively in that game. You're 100% correct. What those guys did to impact a National Player of the Year candidate was pretty remarkable. Now, you look at the SEC standings right now. Arkansas is tied with Missouri and Florida at 6-5. Dude, that 4th spot's wide open. Auburn and Kentucky tied at 7-4. I think Arkansas could very easily get that 4 seed in the SEC tournament if things go right down the stretch. What percentage would you give the Razorbacks of able to capture that 4 seed in Nashville?
Well, Ty, not as high as you, because they still got Alabama on the road, Tennessee on the road. They got Kentucky coming back here. They're going to be hungry in late season mode, and it just won't play out exactly the same. And so this is a really tough schedule. They need to really take care of the games, and I'm thinking about Mississippi State, Florida, and Georgia need to win all those games, and then give Tennessee. And by the way, that loss by Tennessee last night at Vandy, they're a very good team, super strong defensive team. But Arkansas went up there last year, if you'll remember. They were trailing by in the double digits and came back and really made that an exciting finish. And kind of a microcosm of the way Arkansas plays down the stretch. So I don't know. I would not favor them to win the 4th spot simply because of strength of schedule.
Let's talk some football. Woo Pig weekend, Tom. You got the spring game at 12. You got softball at 3. And you got old Tennessee stepping in a bomb walker at 6. That's a lot of Razorback events in one day. Are you going to make it all of them?
Oh, I don't know, Ty. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, I'll clearly be at the football game, and we'll see how quickly I can finish and get over to baseball. But what a widely anticipated series that's going to be, with Tony coming back in town with his team that had such a fantastic run last year. You can equate Tennessee's baseball season last year to Arkansas in 21, where they were almost like a head and shoulders number 1 with RPI and everything. And then it just gets tough when it gets into the postseason. And Notre Dame found a way to beat Tennessee, much like North Carolina State came in and did it to Arkansas. But yes, that's going to be a fantastic weekend. I think essentially Sam Pittman and football have moved up the red-white game by 1 week. And they wanted to get in a couple of more days before spring break, and so that allowed them to move it up. And just hope the weather holds, and it's going to be a fantastic weekend. Arkansas fans should be flocking to Fayetteville.
I think they're going to be flocking to Saturday night. You heard Muss post-game talking about after the Kentucky win. He expects a rowdy crowd inside of Bud Walton Arena. And I know they're sold out per se with the amount of tickets. Do we see 19,000 inside of Bud Walton Arena Saturday at 5 o'clock, Tom?
Man, it could be. I haven't looked at the weather, but I don't think it's anything drastic. So I think the weather should be fine. And honestly, this could be a really good game. I mean, when you think about how tough it was to subdue New Mexico State in the tournament, Chris Jans coaches good defense, and you can tell they're getting their legs. They're kind of like a notch below Arkansas, but kind of doing the same thing. They're finding their way. And Tohu Smith obviously is going to be a difficult cover, but as we just have talked about, the Mitchell twins, good battle there. But then you got guys like Moore and DJ Jeffries on the perimeter that are playing better. And as Musk described yesterday, they're a gambling defensive team. They'll jump into passing lanes and stuff. So Arkansas cannot be lazy with its passes. You know, they have to be decisive and forceful. And I think they're going to put pressure on Mississippi State with their pick and roll stuff, the way they've been dropping it into their bigs. And you got to make Mississippi State pay if they gamble on defense.
Tom, last thing, Super Bowl Sunday, can't wait. Chiefs, Eagles, the Andy Reid Bowl. I know there's injuries to both quarterbacks. Mahomes got the high ankle. You've got Jalen Hurts with the sprained shoulder. Who takes it Sunday in Glendale?
Well, I mean, my heart is in it for the Chiefs. They're the regional team, and I really like Pat Mahomes. I mean, I like the kid. And there's an array of skill weapons, but so many of them are banged up. So you hope Kelsey's back's okay, and I don't know, Valdez Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster, all these guys seem like we're a little banged up, but they find ways to get it to them. I just think the Eagles' defense is going to be the single biggest determining factor. You know, whether they can get pressure on Mahomes and make him have to move around on that ankle. And you know they're going to scheme up to try to do that. So I worry for Mahomes and the Chiefs, but you know they're going to have countermeasures to get the ball out quicker and hopefully take advantage. I want the Chiefs to win, but I understand why the Eagles would be a favorite, because aren't they a slight favorite?
Yeah, they're 1.5 points on the Bet Saracen app.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.